Hello everyone. It is Saturday, I don't know, June something. 4:10. I am a little bit late. I am trying out a few new things, so I don't know how this is looking. I was working on better lighting and I have a new mount for my camera. So I'm hoping this looks better, but I can't really tell. So I would love feedback on the lighting after we're done. Yes, so we are going to make a fun card using the Nothing's Better Than bundle. So I'm just going to sort of pull out here what we're going to play with. And I feel like I'm going to move this light. I don't know if it's getting shadowy. Let me know. Oh yeah, I think that's better, right? And we're going to move this down here. Okay, so we are going to use this bundle. This card I have cased, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name now. Frog Lady? I think it's Frog Lady JJ, and she's out of Fort Saskatchewan. I will, of course, give her credit and link it underneath this video when we are done. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to show you a couple different things that we did. This card is not actually put together because rather than me stamping and cutting out all these coffee cups, I wanted to save time. So we're going to use these ones on our new card, but I just wanted to have them there to show you. So we're going to go ahead and get out a piece of white. And I think I had this pre-cut, but maybe I didn't in the end. So because I'm layering white on white, that white layer is going to be 5 1/4 by 4, so that we get the border of the card behind it. And you could use any colors you want in this, and you could then use any color cardstock you want for your card. You don't have to do white on white. And I was thinking we might see what something else looks like. I can see that my camera, sorry, this is, like I said, all very new to me, this new mount, and I can see that it is not tightened enough and everything is moving. So my apologies for that. Your patience is most appreciative. Hey, Lori. Bear with me. I have a new mount here. I'm also working on lighting, so I would take any and all of your feedback after this, because to me it looks like it's very shadowy, but I don't know if that's just me or if it actually is. So let me know, please. Okay, moving on. So this is this 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to do all of our stamping on that. So most of this card is simple stamping. And if you only had the stamp set, you could still make this card. You would just stamp the word coffee instead of die cut it. And you would just fussy cut the mugs. And then you just wouldn't, the only thing that would be missing is you wouldn't have that little white space. Okay? So this is totally doable without investing in the bundle if you didn't want to. But it is a great bundle, so. This is the one that has coffee, chocolate, cocktails, and cookies. But I hadn't made a coffee card yet, and I saw this one and I thought it was cute. So we're going to go with it. I like to stamp on my foam piercing mat with my photopolymer stamp sets. So you're going to see me doing that, and I'm just going to put a scrap on there because we're going to end up stamping over top of it. Or off the edge, I should say. So I'm going to show you, I was playing around with this earlier. This was what I started. And then I didn't like how my squares ended up, so I scratched this. So what I have determined is I actually want to have my words. If you wanted to case this card, I think you want to stamp the words first, so that you know where you want the rest to end up. So I did this in basic gray, and then I tried to make the word coffee look a little bit like a latte. So I've got the sort of ombre effect of the browns. Now you could stamp in brown, you could stamp in black, because I'm looking at it now and thinking the gray doesn't really pop off the page. The reason I used the gray is I liked the gray on the mugs. So I think I might actually change what we're going to stamp the words in. We could do it in the brown, so then it would go with the coffee. We could do it in the espresso. So let's do it. I mean, I looked at that before and thought about it. You could also do it in black. Obviously, black goes with everything. Let's just, I'm still not sold on doing it in, I guess the brown's really dark. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna stamp this bottom one first. Is like, I'm just kidding, I have no idea, because really, a day without coffee. I'm pretty sure the last time I went a day without coffee, I was pregnant. So that was a long time ago, so my son is about to be 9. And I think that was just because coffee wasn't agreeing with me. So we're gonna put this down here in the bottom corner. Okay, perfect. And I always just stamp off, hi Lynn, before I clean it on my chamois, which I will do later. And then we're going to stamp this up top here. And I've put the coffee on an angle. You could have it straight. It's not gonna matter. It just depends how good you are at stamping straight or lining up something straight. This is where your Stamparatus would come in handy. And I considered pulling it out for this card, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm still not very good with it. So I just don't use it very often. Okay, so that is that piece. Now, we're still gonna need this, but I'm gonna close it up because I don't wanna make a mess. So what we are gonna do now is we are going to stamp the coffee. So you can, or die cut. You can see where I've die cut it before. These are these adhesive sheets that are back in the catalog. So they turn everything into basically a sticker. And it saves you having to fuss around with glue or your new Stampin' seal on these tiny little die cuts. The other thing you can do if you want it to pop off the page is these super cool like dimensional sheets. They call them, what are they called? Foam adhesive sheets. So you get a pack of six, yep. And they are 4 and 9/16 by 4 and 3/8. So 11 by 11.4 centimeters. So they're these great little sheets. And again, they're like double-sided, like a dimensional. And then you just stick your paper to it and then it just rolls through your die cut. And so you get it already popped up on dimensionals. So that is also fun. And you could totally do that for this card, but I'm going to keep it flat. So I'm going to die cut it in advance. I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to show you how I sponged it to get that sort of ombre effect. So I'm just going to run that off to the side through my Big Shot. So any of you have seen the new catalog, you see that there's the new die cutting machine in it. I can't remember what it's called off the top of me. Cut and Emboss, maybe? It is not available yet. I believe the big one is actually going to be available in the holiday catalog, even for the pre-order, which for demonstrators is July 1st. So I'm going to already be pre-ordering my holiday stuff July 1st. The mini Stampin' Embossed or Cut and Embossed, it's not going to come out till a bit later. Okay, so you can see where I've cut that out. So again, you could use the negative of this too, even though it's not popped up. So lots of people, if you follow other demos, you've seen them using the negatives of these things. Okay, I'm going to move this to the side because I don't want to get it messed up. And I'm just going to pop this out. And then I'm likely going to pop it back in after because I found my other one was warping a little bit just because I was, mucking about with it and the C was going a bit off. Okay, so we're gonna put that down and then you're gonna see what I'm gonna do. So I'm just using one of these sponges. They come in a big bag. They're called stamping sponges. They come in a bag of 3. And then what most demos do is just cut them up into like 6 each. The other thing you could be using is the little sponge daubers. I believe either of these would work. The difference being I only have 1 package of sponge daubers, so I have 5 of them, I think. I think they come in a pack of 5. Yes. So I tend to use these other guys, and honestly, I don't really know the difference when you should use one over another. So I have some stamping friends who use them lots, so I should check what they do. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this sort of latte effect with the words. So what I did is I took my sponge, and you just want to make sure you're not going to pick up any other color. Or you start a new sponge would be the actual smarter thing to do. And I'm going to, this is my crumb cake. I'm just going to pick up some ink, and then I'm going to just kind of sponge across the top. And then if it's not dark enough, you can add more ink. And I went quite a ways down because I'm going to cover it up with a darker color, so it doesn't actually matter. And of course, it's going to look different every time. But so there is the top of our coffee. Hi, Barb! And that is in our crumb cake. Now we are going to do the bottom of our coffee in our early espresso, of course. So we're going to take the sponge, and I went on the side so you can see where I already was using the early espresso. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to pick up some ink. Ideally, you wouldn't always pick up the ink from the same spot on your stamp pad. Just you'll have to re-ink that spot sooner than the rest, right? And then I'm just going to sponge the bottom. And again, it could be in a straight line. It doesn't have to be. I just was trying to cover half of the letters. So there, you can see we've got now this really cool kind of ombre latte effect. I thought it looked pretty cool. So hopefully you do too. And then all I'm going to do for right now, one, so I don't lose it, and two, because we don't need it right now, I'm just gonna pop it back inside of here so that I don't forget where it is. And it maintains that sort of shape that we want it to be, okay? So I'm just moving that to the side for right now. And then I'm actually going to just take this piece of paper and turn it over, because again, now the last thing I want is for us to get all of that brown ink on our card. And ideally, I don't want brown ink all over my hands. Now you want a latte. Of course, who doesn't want a latte? I didn't have a latte today, but I did have an Americano misto, which is generally what I get instead of lattes, because I find lattes a little bit too milky, but that's my trick. They're also a little bit cheaper, or at least they used to be. Okay, so now we're going to stamp these squares. So I saw, like I said, I've cased this card, and I do believe it's Froggy Lady JJ. And so she's using this stamp set, Swirly Frames. And I recently purchased this. Now it's been around for a bit. It's photopolymer. But I've seen it used in the catalog with the pattern play suite, which I've also purchased. But these make, like, right, all of our shapes. So rectangles, squares, circles. When you have a cutout shape and you're going to put a sentiment, and then it just gives you a little bit of something. So yes, so that's what we're using. So we're using the square, and I wanted to bring out some of our fun new colors. And this kind of reminds me of like an old school diner, you know, like the Formica coffee cups. So that's what we're kind of going with. So we've used Misty Moonlight, Just Jade, Bumblebee, so 3 new colors, and then I'm throwing in Flirty Flamingo. All of these colors I have done as 2nd degree stamping, so I have stamped off. Hello, Chandra. Because I found that they were all just a bit too intense. I'd wanted them to be a bit more subtle, but you could do this card and do the opposite. You could do full strength color, and you would just get a slightly different effect. So that, I'm going to move that over so you can kind of see this. Okay, I'm still not loving this lighting, so like I said, if you guys are finding this dark, I would love to know that, and then I will just continue to play around with what we got going on. Okay, so what I did when I made this card the first time is, now that I sort of had this, I put the word on. I didn't put the word on, but I just laid the die on here again so that I could see where I wanted the square to go. So I started with this blue square here. So we're going to take the Misty Moonlight and we're going to start there. Like I said, we're doing 2nd degree stamping for everything. So I'm going to ink it up. I am going to stamp it off. Then I'm going to come over here, and I kind of want it to go right about there. And then I want another one in this corner, so I'm going to stamp it up again. I'm going to ink it off. And this one's going to go sort of up about like that. So there are the Just Jades, or not the Just Jades, Misty Moonlights. And then I'm pretty sure that my chamois went flying off the other end of my desk. Yes, it did. So we will get that. We will clean this off. And then I just kind of moved around. So I'm pretty sure next I went to the Just Jade. So we're gonna ink that one up. We're gonna stamp it off. See, it's a beautiful color, but I just wanted it to be a little more subtle. And we're gonna kind of put that like that. And then we're gonna do another one at the bottom. So again, we're gonna stamp off. And this one is kind of about there. Okay, and of course, it's not an exact science. You could do this with circles. You could do this with them on there. These stamp pads are still so new. If you're wondering like, can't she close it? Because when they're still very new, they can be hard to close. Then I think next I went with the bumblebee. And even the bumblebee I have stamped off because I just felt full. It was just a little bit richer than I wanted it for this card. And we're just gonna kind of put this in there like that. And then our Flirty Flamingo. So this card isn't super fancy. There's nothing crazy about it. It's quick, as you can see. We're just kind of whipping through this. But I liked it. I saw it. It was cheery. And then we're going to put this one right about there. So there's all our squares. We're going to get that out of the way. We're going to clean this. I need to get my chamois wet again. All right. So now we're pretty much done. I am going to show you, because I said I already stamped those coffee cups, I'm going to just stamp one and show you kind of what I did there. Again, not rocket science, but I always stamp the outline first and then fill it, and then stamp the inside, I don't know, fill it in, for lack of a better word. I think either or works. It just depends what you find easier to line up with your eye. So sometimes when I have this adhesive on here, because now this sticks, I use something else. So then we're gonna just put our word in here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pleased with how the coloring of the sponging of the word turned out. And it really does make me want a coffee too. Okay, so boom, right? Done. So now we're gonna play around with these coffee cups. So all I did is take some scrap white, and so we can use this piece. I'm just gonna cut off where I have that sticker. I'm gonna move that to the side for a second. So you can do this in one of two ways, like I said. So we've got the outline, and then we've got the fill. So if we do the outline first, and I'm trying to think, I don't know if I stamped this off. I don't think I did. I did full strength basic gray. And then you're gonna fill that in. So you're going to ink this up. You're going to stamp once. And then you're just gonna line it up as best you can and stamp again. So the other option would be to stamp this first, if you find that's easier. Then line this up over top of it. So I haven't decided which one. I mean, they both look almost exactly the same. So I haven't decided which one is easier. I think it just depends what every person finds easy. And then you're gonna run those through the die cut. Or like I said, if you don't have the die cut, then you are gonna just fussy cut. It's like they're not super hard shapes to cut out. And then we're gonna just put that card together. So we're gonna put a cup there, we're gonna put a cup here, we're gonna throw a cup in there. I think I had it like this though. I had this guy down here. And then voila. Those are gonna go on dimensionals in my case. I'm gonna put the coffee cups on dimensionals. The other thing you could do is you could put the whole thing on dimensionals. And like I said, the other option, and I don't know that I have any of those papers cut. Trying to see if I have, is that you could put this, instead of on white, you could put it on jade or misty moonlight or for your background color. So let's just pretend that this was a card base. So then, you know, you could put it on a just jade card instead of a whisper white. So because I have two of them, I will do one of each, and then I will post both the pictures. And yeah. So thank you, ladies, for joining me. Hopefully you're having, hey, Teddy, you're having a good Saturday. And yes, any and all feedback, especially Chandra from you, because I know you are good with the videoing and the lights. It looks really bright to me in my workspace, but it doesn't look really bright on the camera. So I don't know if it is actually in reality, and I will rewatch it. And yeah, have a good night, folks.